Hello, people. Welcome to the Students' Perspective. We are going to address one of the most important issues today, which is about mental health. And with us, we have Zeenat ma'am. She's a counselor and a faculty at GMCS ICI. And we also have Mayuresh sir, faculty at JK Shah. And with over a lot of years of experience and met at least 1,000 students in his career. So, sir, we are going to take a lot of questions today given to me by students, and we are going to discuss our opinions about it. So, my first question is, how do I control anger?
Okay, is this a question for me?
Oh no, we can go around the panel.
Yeah, actually, ladies first.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So the first thing is anger is very natural, right? So generally, anything which is natural, we cannot control them, but we try to manage them. Similarly, anger is one of the emotions which is very natural. So controlling it is difficult. I mean, we should not even think of controlling something which is natural. So we will have to manage with it.
Okay. Yeah. Then how do we manage that?
Yeah. So, how do we manage? To manage anger, you need to know first the triggers. What makes you get angry, right? So find out those triggers and also understand how do you react while you are angry. So whether your reactions are constant with everyone or it keeps changing based on people.
Okay.
Like suppose if you are at home with your parents, you do all tantrums, all possible tantrums while you are angry. But while you are outside, you are in your workplace, you manage your anger differently. Right? So that means that we do not actually understand what is causing us to lose our control. We need to try to understand what it is. First the anger, first the triggers which is causing the anger, and then the way you are managing it. So generally what we do is we try to manipulate it. So people who are lower to us, we try to show more anger, we shout at them, we abuse at them and all that. When we are angry with our seniors, our superiors, we manage it differently. So while we manage it at one place, it is possible for us to manage at every place. Right? So learn that way.
Okay. I sense that. Also, do you have something to add to this?
See, first of all, anger management is a wrong question for me because I am a very short-tempered person. Or rather, I was a short-tempered person. Manav, you won't believe this because you have seen a different version of me, which is much professional version kind of a thing for me. But I am a short-tempered guy. But I have realized one thing in life, which I'm trying to implement even now. Generally, we get angry when our close one. I mean, the major reason for getting angry is the close people. You won't get angry if some third person does something to you.
Okay.
So basically, I feel in majority times the basic reason for anger is expectation. And as Madam rightly said, basically there is no need to control anger. It is a natural feeling. Please let it come out. Otherwise, it will harm you physically as well as mentally. But I always feel what I am implementing these days is I just don't control it. I just try to be calm. I mean, you can make out from my face that I have lost it completely. I'm completely angry, but then I try to be calm, composed. I think, is it really worth getting angry on this? If yes, fine. 99% of the time your answer is no, so get away with it. Stop there and there. And it actually, your mind, once it recognizes the need, it starts working in the same direction. Secondly, don't repent on what you have done. And if you really want to follow that, don't be angry don't react when you're angry. You have to be calm. That is a basic thing which I want all of you to understand. Be calm. Because if you are calm, then only you'll be able to think whether you are right or wrong. Otherwise, you will end up doing something wrong, which will make you repent in the future.
Got it. So the second question is now, how do I practice time management? How do I manage my time?
So again, here time management, how can you manage time? If it is 11 o'clock now, it is 11 o'clock, right? You can manage it. You can make it to 10 or you can make it to 12. So generally, do not try to manage time, but try to manage your activities. Try to plan your things, prioritize your things, and then work accordingly. So you'll have to manage your activities. And you must know what are the important activities. We have practiced, if you remember, during time management, important, urgent, not so important, but urgent, not so urgent, but important. So what are those important things you think you must complete today? That clarity you must have, and that you must write it down on a piece of paper. That these are the things which I must complete today, come what may. If you have that clarity, I think you will be able to manage all your schedule.
Okay.
So prioritizing things, making a list of things to achieve for the day, not to do for the day, but to achieve for the day. And if you have that clarity, it is easy. It is manageable. You can obviously manage your schedule, manage your time.
So do you have something?
Yeah, actually, most of the points are already covered. But I always think you should be clear about two things: how much time you have, and what exactly are you supposed to do in that span of time. Now, this is what we do. This is what we are supposed to do as a student or even as a professional. Because you have, I'm 110%, I'm sure that you have so many things in the plate. Okay. So we have to prioritize. There is no option. And while prioritize, you have to be very, very, very practical, because things sometimes we prioritize may not be actually really required in life. Okay. Priority changes from time to time. But you should be, first of all, clear with the goal that you have set in life. Because once you are clear with the goal that you want to achieve, then only you are clear with the path. And if you are clear with the path, then only you can prioritize things which will come across that path. So I feel goal is the first important thing which you should be aware of at this age. I know at the age of 18, 19, 20, goal setting is not that common among students. There are a very few students who know what actually they want in life. Okay, others are just happy with Carrie Minati and Hindustani Bhau and all those stuff. So very few people know what is goal, what exactly the goal is. And of course, see, I'll tell you, goal is about to change as and when you proceed in life, your goal changes. But at least that goal will give you some guidance, and it will take you on a right path. That's what I always believe. So prioritizing, fixing your goal and prioritizing activities towards it are the two key points to manage time. That's what I feel.
Okay, that's a good point.
So the long-term goals might keep changing with time, but whenever you have
but short-term, yes.
For short-term or long-term, whatever goal, that has to be divided into your daily goals. Like the schedules I was talking about. So when you have a goal, you must divide it into smaller goals, and which at the end it has to come to your daily goals. To achieve that higher goal, you must achieve that day to day.
Got it.
And that is when your planning and prioritizing comes, keeping that goal in mind.
Okay.
Manav, you must be, do you remember on the last day, I had told you people one thing. Don't plan subject-wise, plan topic-wise.
I know.
So if you have 14 topics in costing, 8 topics in FM, there are not 2 subjects. There are 22 topics to be covered and study topic-wise. This is what she's saying right now.
Okay. Now we are, can we go to a bit of a sensitive topic over here? We can? Okay. So how to handle failures, because a failure will impact everyone in the most negative way possible. And students may tend to think negatively, may go for suicidal approaches. So how do you handle failure? And how do you handle the impact of failure?
Okay. So like in the first question, we discussed about expectations. So everything we do, instead of giving our 100% to what we are doing right now, we think about the result. If you are preparing for your exams, you will always be thinking about the result. What if I fail? Right? What if I do not pass? What if my other friends clear and I do not clear? So most of the time, we think about the results. So we call it as, in psychology term, we call it as getting attached to the outcome, which is not in your hands. And while you are continuously doing that, you are not present here in this moment while you are preparing to achieve that result. True? So please understand that giving 100% to what you are doing to achieve a certain thing is in your hands. Even after giving your 100%, what are you achieving at the end is not in your hands.
Okay.
Even if you have failed, let's take that as for a moment, because the question is that only, how do we manage failure? So even if you have failed, what can you do about it? Can you do anything? Can you change that result? For a day or two, thinking about it, being sad, not being socialized, not going out, not talking to people, not eating, that is fine. For a day or two, to remain in that phase is okay. But you will have to immediately get up and start doing things, right? You have your daily goals. If you have not done anything for 2 days, you have already delayed your other progress to 2 days. So the expectations. So why do we always expect that I should get the desired, what I desire as my result? That's not guaranteed. Results are never guaranteed.
Again, but I also believe that expectations are not just coming from the student side. They're coming from society, parents, relatives, and that creates more pressure. So how can one manage that? Because
can I add to this?
Yeah, please.
See, I always believe in one thing. Failure is a subjective term. Failure is a subjective term. First of all, okay, let's take example of exam results. Suppose I fail in the exam, my result is negative. The first thing I should always do is find out reasons, because I am the only one who knows the true reason. Let us accept the fact. I can fool my parents, I can fool my teacher, I can fool the entire world that I studied, but then it didn't happen. I don't know what happened, but ICI does that, this company does that. Stop doing that. You know the real reason. And if you know the real reason, and if you have courage to accept that, you will not see the failure again. That's what I've always believed in. And if you keep on giving excuses, this happened, that happened, this happened, that happened, that means you are planning for successive failures. And trust me, successive failure is the failure, not the first one. If I'm flunked, if I did not clear, that is not a failure. If I don't learn from my failure, then that's the real failure. I have to learn from my failure. If I don't learn, that is my successive failure. And my second failure is actually termed as my failure, because I failed as a human. I failed as a student. Secondly, in major cases, we feel that we have failed out of comparison. I have seen people having a package of 25 lakhs per annum, not happy with their job profile. Why? Because others are getting 35 lakhs. Now see, there is no end. So majority people feel failure just because they couldn't achieve what others have achieved. Now let me tell you one simple thing. You are an individual. You are a different person. You cannot be the same. Okay, your thumbprint doesn't match with any of 3 billion people in India. I mean, across the world. Just imagine, you're that different. You're that unique. How can you expect the same thing to happen to you? If I'm 29 or if I'm 20, you can't expect me to be popular like someone who has struggled for 10 years and who's 30, 35 years of age. They have struggled, they have got the success. It's your time to struggle, work hard in the right direction, and then reach there. You can't expect the success at 35 when you are at 20. So basically, majority times failure is a thought process which comes out of comparison. Oh, he's doing better than me. Oh, look at this. Look at likes he's getting. Look at the share he's getting. These things are absolutely useless. So I feel failure can be a state of mind because of comparison. So please evaluate yourself. Is it a real failure? Yes. No. No. Leave it. Yes. Find out reasons, because you are the only person who can find out the reason. The real who's actually knowing the real reason behind it. Accept it. Acceptance is also very important, because if you don't accept things, they trouble you in terms of physical diseases. You have to accept things. Accept it. Set your plan. Reschedule your goal and start going for it. Bounce back is the only way out to tackle failure.
Also, you make people know that you are a failure, right?
Exactly.
You have accepted that you have failed, and then only people would realize that yes, you have failed. Like Mayuresh was saying rightly, that failure, what it has taught you. So you have failed once, but during your practice, suppose after a year's practice, you fail at the end. So this 1 year process of getting to that state has taught you so many other things. It has made you a completely different person, which you were 1 year back. So you also have to consider what all you have gained. Again, as Mayuresh was saying, the failure is a state of mind. You would say, okay, I have learned so many things, and I'm going to implement these things for my next practice. That was one. Then your second question was, log kya kahenge? Right? People have expectations from you, your family has expectations from you, but how would you manage those expectations? As we just quoted, that it is a state of mind. You are feeling you are a failure. You fail and you come and say that, no, I did not get what I was expecting, but I have become a better person and I'm going to try in a different way. So whatever it is, you only allow people to come and tell you that you did not do this, or you have failed for this specific example. So when you think that you have failed, then only others realize that yes, you are a failure. So it is you who has to manage the failure.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
The question arises ki, okay, I have failed, I accepted that, okay. But again, people are going to come, people are going to vent. How can one manage those? Because you cannot be rude to others.
If you manage yourself, you can manage people.
I'll tell you one more thing, Manav. When you show that you are a failure, more people will wait. But when you show that you are happy and you are successful, there will be very less traffic on that route.
Okay.
True.
My third question is stress management. Majorly stress comes from ki kitna karna hai, which we addressed right now, but also that results is not in my hand. So how can one manage those?
I think by now you would have some idea how would you manage your stress.
Yeah, exactly.
Stress comes from when you have not received things as per your expectations.
Yeah, stress comes from there, and that is still fine. But when sometimes your goals overpower you, you feel like, oh shit, there is a lot to be done, and when you try to break it down, you still feel ki, no, I'm not capable of doing that. At that point of time, what do you do?
So then your goal was not a smart goal. Yeah.
I feel you need to rationalize your goals.
Comparison. True.
Okay. That's what I said. No, don't compare yourself with anyone. That is first thing. And second important thing is, you speak to people. You see how things are happening in the industry. Like, I started my career when I was 23 years old. Okay, I started my career as a teacher. But till my last year BCom, I was into entertainment industry. I was into acting, direction. I have so many certificates and all. So I always wanted to pursue career there. But then I realized one thing, or rather my parents made me realize that there is no future, because at that point of time, I'm talking about 90s. At that point of time, though there were no so many channels and all that, there was no so much of scope. Okay,
Mhm.
there was stiff competition, and what if you don't survive? Because that industry is horrible. If you do well, you're I mean on the top, or otherwise you just end up doing some small job work there on a daily basis. So I got shifted here, but when I shifted, I always had that in mind. Okay, I'm leaving something. I'm leaving something. I'm leaving something that I love. But
Hmm.
then when I shifted here, when I was doing CM, I think thought process was clear that at least as a part-time, I
Okay.
did not start teaching. I did not start teaching out of compulsion. I started teaching as a hobby, and then it has turned out to be my profession. So when your hobby turns out to be your profession, there is no stress.
Hmm.
So that's fine when you're doing something interesting. So goal setting will I mean the goal setting has to be rationalized one. So if I want to be happy and if I want to avoid stress, point number one, you should have a rationalized goals which can be updated as and when things are required. And secondly, you should do whatever you like to do. So excel in that. Every field has scope of survival and growth.
Okay.
If possible, you can actually take help of some spiritual uh, write-ups, some spiritual speech given by anyone. I mean, that is as per your choice.
Hmm.
I personally prefer that.
Mhm. Okay. So now the next question is, does therapy, does counseling actually help, and how does it help?
So to answer this question, whether therapies, what was the question? If you can just repeat again, whether
How
therapies work?
does therapy work? If yes, how?
Great. So I am a registered counselor for a psychotic problem called bipolar. So there is a forum called Bipolar India.
Mm-hmm.
So generally people for psychotic issues and psychotic disorders, people rely on medicines more than the therapies. And then medicines will have a lot of side effects to manage. Along with your mental illness, you will also have to manage the side effects of the medicines. And I have been with this forum since last 5 years. And I have been counseling people across the globe on a regular basis. And I have seen amazing results people have got out of this therapies regular. Being in touch with the therapist on a regular basis. So if you come to go to a therapist once and then come out and then you do not follow what has been said and how you have to change your lifestyle or whatever has been given to you. So if you are regularly, continuously practicing the therapies, like what we are doing right now is also a kind of therapy, right? We are trying to understand how
Yes.
these problems, these questions like stress, like fear of failure, etc., impacting our life. And to come out of those stress and failures, unable to manage your anger, you will have to do certain things regularly. You will have to bring change in your mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do that regularly, that is called a therapist, that is called a psychotherapy, and it will 100% work. I have seen people, along with their bipolar, they are doing well in their lives. So yes, it does work.
Okay. Fine. Take you. Got it. So do you have
Okay.
something to add?
Yes. See, I have been practicing access bars since last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a certified access bar practitioner. Just like hypnotherapy, just like other modalities, access bar is a modality which works on subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
It basically channelizes your consciousness and it tries to basically it basically tries to motivate you to do better. Okay, like for example, majority problems in our lives are mental problems, as she rightly said. Majority problems are mental problems. They are not actually around us, we create them.
Mm-hmm.
Negativity is one of them, pessimism is one of them, having grudge against someone is one of them. Like you enter into the bus, you're sitting on a seat, and you don't like the person who is sitting next to you. You haven't spoken to him, you have not said anything, he has not said anything to you, but yeah, but it happens.
Hmm.
So when your mindset is such, your subconscious mind is the powerhouse of your body. Whatever it feels gets revealed in your actions. So many a times you need to basically understand what that subconscious mind wants to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where we fail, because we are too busy in managing our all day-to-day activities. We don't have time for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Take a nap of 8 hours, and a pure nap of 8 hours, and understand what you want. Your body, your subconscious mind gives you hint. Okay, I want this. I want this. I want this. And when you don't fulfill those requirements, you're basically not fulfilling requirement of your own self.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are going on all these,
what I believe why this works now is because there is no one to judge me over here. So we do want to talk about our issues, and we do want to talk about our problems, and we do want to solve it. But the thing with parents and friends and relatives is that we have a fear of them judging us. But when I'm talking about this to a complete stranger who has a confidentiality agreement with me, then that fear is not there. So that's why I can vent out whatever I have. I can talk about my real issues and get a solution. And that is the reason why this works. This is again what I believe.
Yeah, I'll see. You tell me what was your.
For you, it's good.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm telling you. See, the basic problem at this age is at 18, at 19, at 20. You people feel that your parents don't understand you, and only your friends understand you. So you went out everything to your friends, which in return, not everyone will be able to help you out. There can be a communication gap between parents and children. I understand that. But then trust me, they are the only people who will stand by you when the entire world is against you.
Very true. Very true.
I've seen cases where parents don't have time. They want to do so much for children, but they don't have time because of their own career goals. Sometimes students go away from them. Students go away from them thinking that probably parents don't understand them. You have to break that ice. You have to communicate. That is the only solution available.
We have another question, which is how do you manage relationship? And here I don't define relationship as just partner. I define it as my